Hello and welcome to another episode of You Might Want to Sit Down for This Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Von Helvet, and we are at episode number 10, which is pretty rad. We made it to 10, and many more to go. Made it to 10, and I can't even speak. It's been a fucking week, but I can rhyme. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this in here. I don't even give a shit. It's been a week. We went through a fucking heat wave or a heat dome or something it was called here in the Vancouver, Western North America. I guess pretty much from like British Columbia down to Oregon, Washington included in that. Reaching 41 degrees a week ago today at my place, which was 111 Fahrenheit for any Americans listening who don't know the metric system. You stubborn fucks using your stupid imperial system. It's so complicated. It's all in tens. The metric system is tens, ones, hundreds. It's really easy. But yeah, you know. 4th of July yesterday, go fuck yourselves. Canada Day last week, go fuck yourselves. Feeling like it's just weird to celebrate countries or flags or anything that sort of seems kind of nationalistic these days, considering with the indigenous residential school findings here and Black Lives Matter and just all the checkered pasts of our countries. I don't know. It didn't feel right. We canceled Canada Day here in Canada, more or less. I'm sure people in the U.S. were still blowing their fingers off, wasted with M80s. Go America. Besides that, some sad news. We lost 2 extended family members in the last week. Brad drowned, just obviously like a freak thing. I'm not going to get really details or last names or anything, but we lost Brad, and then we lost Doreen, 95 years old, to cancer the next day. And these are, yes, extended family members, people very dear to our hearts. So it's been a tough go, just with that, man. And this episode, just by chance, because I started editing this thing really before those deaths happened, and did the interview with my guest Cynthia Provost. We're talking on this one. This is kind of a heavy episode. We talk about death, and we talk about cancer, because she's beat it twice. Cynthia has, and it's covers some heavy stuff, but of course, it's not going to be a depressing podcast. It's an uplifting one. Cynthia's a really inspiring person and somebody very, very close to me in my life. But yeah, it was just kind of strange that, lost somebody to a really tragic, out of the blue death with Brad, which is kind of how Cynthia's story starts, losing somebody very close, unexpectedly, and then her battling cancer, and then we lose Doreen to cancer. So it's just kind of weird that worked out that way. But yeah, I think these are things that should be talked about. And I know just looking on social media and that, the people's Facebook posts, I think everybody's lost more than their fair share of loved ones over the last year and a half through this whole COVID thing and everything else with suicides and imagine overdoses. There's been a lot going on. So I think everybody will relate to this one and hopefully take some stuff away from it. Gonna give a shout out as always to the wonderfully talented Alexi from Comedy Here Often, 604 Records, who puts together the sound portion of this podcast. I'll be doing a little editing on YouTube as always. So you can always check out the extended version with the slideshow and that on YouTube. But yeah, thanks Comedy Here Often as always. Check us out on my website, www.sitdownforthispodcast.com. Recently updated by the wonderful Scott Powell. It's looking dope. It's running again. Unlike me, bad joke. Comedy actually came back I did my first comedy set since November this weekend too, which was good. It was good to get out and see all the comedians and tell some jokes and get some laughs and feel that terror of going up to an open mic with a bunch of new material that could totally bomb. Trick is, I got sort of half bombed myself before I went up there, so I think it went all right. It was all right. But yeah, Comedy Here Often. Check out the website. Check out comedyhereoften.com. You can follow on Instagram at Sit Down for This Podcast. Just check it out. Follow, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Get me rocking a song from the band Snuff, a UK punk band. I love this song. I finally got the permission from Duncan, their singer. I reached out before this podcast even started. Was even really a thing, more than a thought. A dream. So stoked to have that tune. I think it wraps things up nicely. Check out this episode with Cynthia. And yeah, stay well, everybody. Stay strong. And thanks for listening.
What would you say if this was the end? Would you hold it all in? Trying to smile.
Yeah. I mean, like, where do we introduce our story?
You know what I was thinking? Actually, I was gonna fucking start with how we met, because I think that's a fun story.
That is a fun story. That is a fun story.
Yeah. So, I mean, would you want to do your version or mine, or both?
I mean, so my version is, here I was, I think it was 2013.
Yeah, it was almost 10 years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah, almost 10. Wow, that's insane. And I was going through the things and decided that I wanted to have a Friday night. And I put on a very short skirt and some knee-high boots and went down to the Inner Harbor in Victoria, Ska Fest, to watch Mad Caddies.
Yes. And I was obviously there too.
Obviously. And I was getting myself a drink and I turned around and I saw a babe and that's kind of how it started.
And then you saw me too after the babe.
That's kind of how it started, really.
Yeah, we started talking. Yeah, carry on.
Now it's your turn.
Okay, so yeah, we started chatting and I am not really one who smokes the marijuana, but being that I was at a ska reggae festival, somebody had passed me some ganja, so I was pretty high. I think I had maybe a beer or two. I remember meeting this hot girl, and I was like, yeah, and you were like talking to me, and I was excited about that, but also super paranoid of life, because that's why I don't smoke pot. And then I somehow I was like, wow, I pulled that off and got your phone number. And then right as soon as you turned away, I accidentally dropped my phone right in my beer like a fucking champ. And was like,
yeah,
you didn't see that. And you didn't.
I did not. But, Kevin didn't really remember our conversation.
Yeah, I was going there with that, actually. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I messaged you at 4 a.m. that night and you were in bed. And then
obviously. Yeah.
The next day, I was hoping you would maybe come to bed with me, but I missed my opportunity. Yeah, I invited you to come to Vancouver and go to a Rancid concert.
Yes, you did.
Spare ticket. And you said, I can't because I'm going to the hospital. And I was like, oh, are you a nurse? And you said...
I said, no, I have cancer. Remember?
Fuck. And somehow you still talk to me.
So yeah, I was diagnosed with cancer maybe a month prior to that, and had the surgeries and was going into chemo probably 2 weeks after that, I think. And after we first met, and I just wanted to have a night, and I had a night and I met a babe, and then he forgot what I said.
Forgot you had cancer. Not even not even your name. Your name would have been fine. Forgot you might die.
Right. P.S. And then so began our friendship. I mean, we didn't see each other after that first meeting for a year.
Yeah, probably.
We just
yeah.
We talked on the phone.
Every day.
Every week. Yeah. Text for sure every day, but every week we talked and we would have marathon phone conversations for 2-3 hours.
Yeah. And I don't even like talking on the phone. So that's kudos to you. I feel like there's a missed opportunity here if I don't just rewind a bit and say for a paralyzed man whose legs don't work, pretty fucking good at putting my foot in my mouth. All right, I got that out of the way. So back to the story. Yeah, we really bonded over. I think just, you know, I'd had some obviously trauma in my life and been through some shit. I mean, you could give me your take, but I thought probably just because I don't know, I was safe. Not like anyone was dangerous, but I was not, you didn't know me. I didn't know anyone you knew. Like you could confide in me because I'd been through some shit, and it was probably just felt kind of, I don't know, you could just say whatever because you definitely opened up about everything.
I did. I mean, I felt like your friendship to me was just like, obviously still what I love, but like it was exactly what I needed at that time. Like you didn't judge me, you didn't tilt your head at me, you never
How
felt
could I
sorry
judge you
for-
after how I fucking started this? I was just grateful
Well,
that you
like,
didn't hate me.
you know,
Yeah.
like it's so easy to like pass judgment on someone or be like, oh, she's out drinking, she has cancer, why is she doing that? Like you never passed judgment on me. You never like, you were just, I could say whatever I needed to say to you, and you never felt sorry for me either. And that's huge when every other person is tilting their head at you and being like, oh, are you okay?
Yeah.
So and you never did that, and it was so refreshing. So refreshing.
You know, and I think like, I mean, I value, of course, our friendship and our engagement. Should we have a trigger?
we haven't told the people how we got engaged.
We can get to that too, for sure, of course.
Okay.
But I feel like it, like, because sadly, of course, I'm sure anybody watching this or listening either knows somebody, has known somebody, will know somebody, will be that somebody who gets cancer. And I learned a lot about it from you. That's not what I was doing, but I feel like sort of since when people I know get it, like I have a good friend with it right now, and just kind of going, like, I talk about you, I share your story. And just like, I remember you just talking about chemo, and just, it sounds so fucking gnarly. I don't think people really know how much that kicks your fucking ass every day.
No. Yeah, it's pretty intense. I mean, like you can't prepare yourself for it. You can't it's different for everybody. I mean, it's, and as a third, like I'm dating myself right now, but I was 29 at the time, and you know, I lost all my hair, I lost my eyebrows, I turned gray in complexion. Like I was so
You're
ill
an alien.
looking.
That sounds like one of those gray aliens. You were bald,
That's
no
who I
eyebrows, and
was.
gray.
I mean, that's who I was. And I just like, you know, as a 20-year-old woman who like in her 20s partied.
Were you in your?
And
oh
like,
yeah. You weren't in your 20s.
you know, just like I would be the one that's wearing the short skirts and swaying and like just having such a good time. And then you're just a sick kid, and you don't look like yourself, and you gain 20 pounds from prednisone, and it's just horrific as a 29-year-old woman that's just single and, you know, in her prime of life, and that was kind of like a big adjustment. There's so much to chemo and cancer treatments that people don't really understand, and how it affects your entire life.
Yeah.
But then there's beauty to it too. So, I mean,
they've had you on that prednisone shit. That stuff scares me. I'm not gonna say who, but there's somebody very close to me is on it and just trying to get off it, and it just seems like a nightmare. It's like, okay, you got to down the dose, then there's some sort of reaction, then they're gonna up the dose, and it's just really frustrating. And I don't understand it. It feels like they are kind of like just taking the doctor's word for things, which they're not. But it's I mean, you kind of have to. But the thing sounds like a motherfucker to get off that stuff. Hey, did you get off it, or?
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
totally.
good.
I mean, like out of all of the drugs that they put me on, prednisone is probably like the least one that I was like scared of.
Yeah.
I mean,
compared
so
to like chemo and shit, right?
Yeah, and then we're gonna kind of segue to the reason why I was probably diagnosed with cancer at a super young age. So
you should say like what kind of, definitely let's go here, but what kind of cancer you had too, because you had a pretty serious fucking
so I had stage 2 in 2009. 13, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. It had spread to my lymph nodes. So I
And
had
that's
to
serious
do,
when that happens, right? Like
it is,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
So it wasn't just localized, like it was on the move and it was going places. So
Yeah.
that's why I had to do like a full mastectomy reconstruction. They took out my lymph nodes and then chemo, about 4 months, 5 months of chemo. And then, but like it's 5 months of chemo, but it takes about 2 years to recover from that.
Yeah. Your body's just like a toxic from all that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally, totally. But I guess like what I wanted to say before was
Yeah.
just like one of the reasons why I believe I got cancer. I mean, I think it's important to address is stress. And I don't think that I coped with stress properly. I had a partner for about 8 years, on and off, more on than off. His name was Jess. And he was, other than you, the love of my life.
I'm not jealous of Jess at all.
I
You sound like a rock
I
star.
was like, should I say this? I mean, we are engaged, but
Yeah.
like, so
No, it's all
he was
good.
just
All
he
good.
was like the absolute light of my life. We met at a super young age, and we were just we I it's hard to explain. Like, do I believe in soulmates? Do I believe like that this guy is attached to me, that is a part of me? But yeah, I truly believe that. Like, we got each other and we knew what each other were thinking. And so for 8 years, him and I went on adventures, and we lived many, many places together. We lived in Jasper and Whistler and Victoria. And he passed away in 2011. He committed suicide. And we were on when this happened. And so that absolutely broke my entire soul. And, it's something that for the first year, I believe, like I'd say for the first year after he passed, I had a really hard time living, obviously, but I didn't take a deep breath for about a year. And I think that my body was just like so clenched in stress and trauma that it just, and I wanted to die. Like I prayed to the authorities, whoever's up there, to like kill me. And I
then
was
they
like,
gave it to you, and you were like, actually, fuck.
and then,
Oh, that
and
worked.
then
Shit.
plot twist.
Yeah. Okay.
They
And you're
answered
like, oh, no.
my calling, and they're like, here you go on a silver platter, you
Yeah.
can die. And when I was diagnosed, I think it was about like 17 months after he died that I was diagnosed. And when I was diagnosed, I had like a serious existential, like, holy fuck, sorry, I swore, holy fuck.
No, you can swear on this.
Okay, good.
You can say
Do
whatever
I
you
want to die?
Yeah.
Because I can say no to treatments, and I can totally die.
Yeah.
What a life that, like, and then that was it. That would be it.
Did you feel like freedom in that option that you kind of had both now?
Yeah, like in some sort of, like, I had some days when the first day I was diagnosed, I drank a lot of whiskey. And I mean, like,
not doctors' recommendations. That was your.
I mean, like, what are you gonna do?
You're like, I got cancer. Doctor's like, well, you should stock up on whiskey first, and then.
The first thing I did when I was diagnosed, I walked across the street I was diagnosed in a walk-in clinic.
Fuck.
I know.
So.
And then they let me on my way by myself. I walked across the street, went to the liquor store, got the biggest bottle of whiskey. And then I think I like hit up the beach for, 4 hours and just drank whiskey. And I just laid there and I was like, what do I want? Like, this is it, like, I got it.
Holy
I got
shit.
what I wanted. It was definitely like a month of just like going back and forth.
That I can't even imagine, even if it was your own doctor, but you're like in a walk-in clinic. What, like, did you feel a bump or something? Like what
yeah, so I was getting ready for a party and I felt a big lump on my breast, on my side boob. Yeah. And it was like quite large, and you know, I mean, like to me, it felt like it showed up overnight because I had a boyfriend at the time and I said, hey, have you ever felt this before? And he said, no.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it showed up overnight. And then,
So
you know,
women,
from finding,
listeners, check your
check your
breasts.
boobies.
Yeah. Or
And
I
I
will
mean-
check your boobies if you want me to.
It's pretty good at that.
Yes, for sure. Side hustle.
Yeah. So when I found the lump into diagnosis, it was 2 months, which was intense for me because
Yeah.
I was just waiting for 2 months, but nobody
That's
thought
gotta
that a healthy 29-year-old would have cancer. Right. So,
Fuck. Were you just hammered on whiskey that whole 2 months, or were you kind of?
I mean, I was keeping it together for sure.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
maybe I can imagine. But I just can't imagine. Yeah, when you just to even get that news, and then you're just like, and you just walk out of the walk-in clinic, and you're like, all right, hey Victoria.
Like, what do you do, right? Like,
Yeah,
I bought
you're like,
whiskey. Like, I didn't know what to do.
Like I did have an appointment. Like I was gonna do laundry today, but I don't really give a fuck anymore. I'm gonna go get hammered on whiskey on the beach.
Right. Then I called work. I'm like, hey, I can I get transferred to H? I'm never coming in again, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Was that when you worked? Were you working at Laurel Point at that point?
I was. Yeah.
Shout out my favorite hotel in Victoria.
Laurel
Always been good to me.
Point in Victoria.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic
Hell of a
hotel.
spot. Sponsor me, Laurel Point. Give me free rooms. I want to come visit my fiance. Get married in your garden.
Please. Oh, wouldn't that be sweet? Oh,
Yes.
cute.
Yeah, so now you're contemplating. You've got the choice. You've got your prayers have been answered. So fucking hell.
I know, right? Like how
And then you're like,
how
all right,
fucked
now what
up
do we
is
do?
that?
Yeah.
Like, had it been the 1800s, I would have just died of a broken heart. That's what it would have been, right? Like, because they wouldn't have never found the cancer, and I would have died like 2 years after my partner passed. So
I don't know enough about cancer to know even when they actually knew. When was cancer discovered to be a thing? Was it the 1800s?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, like, treatments are just evolving so much from now until from 10 years ago to now, because we're gonna get there. But another plot twist was re-diagnosed.
Well, I was gonna say, fuck. you fucking show up my story any day with your fucking 2 cancers.
It's so fun when Kevin and I go for dinner and he's in his chair and I'm a cancer patient. We just tell the server that it's not contagious.
We don't pay for dinner. Pay for anything. But hey, before we get there, do you want to talk more about Jess? Like,
I love talking about Jess. He's the best. I mean, like, where do I go? Where do I start? Like, this guy, I mean, he didn't like everybody, and I wouldn't ever be like, he was so friendly, and like, I don't know, like, Jess had this like particular allure to him, and like people were drawn to him for so many reasons, and I sure was. But when he looked at you, and when he liked you, and when he loved you, you were the only thing that mattered in the world. And he would just do everything to make you laugh and smile and to make you feel like you were it. And he was just, I don't know, like it's so hard to explain someone that had such a big personality like that. And it's hard to like give it justice too. Like, how do you explain this? Like, but one of my favorite stories is I was, young, and oh man, this would have been like 2009. And I actually just told the story last night to Nadine, and it was the Fiammo opening night. And the Fiammo, it's a bar in town.
Oh, okay.
And it was
like
the opening night. Fiammo. It's actually a really good bar. It's right beside Lucky Bar. We've been there. You and I have been there.
Were we there last time? Was that where we went last time?
Maybe. We were there once for sure. It's beside Lucky Bar. And
carry on.
So he was bartending, and I was working at this like family diner situation. And this guy comes to the diner and he's like, is Cynthia here? And I'm like, who the hell are you? I'm like, I'm Cynthia. And he gives me this invitation for Fiammo opening. And I'm just like, well, okay, I guess I'll go. But I was just this like young little kid in like bell bottoms and like a zip up hoodie. And
And
I
you
go
just
to this.
were you pretty new to Vic because you moved
I
from
was.
Montreal
I
too,
was
right?
very,
Yeah.
very, very new to Victoria. I was like a
Yeah.
year in. Like I didn't know anybody. I was not a cool kid. I was like, you know, it was a Thursday night, and here I am showing up to this like trendy bar opening with like bell bottoms and a zip up hoodie, and I'm just like, what is going on here? Like, anyway,
Yeah.
so he's bartending, and you guys shout out to Albert that like delivers flowers. Do
Oh,
you remember him? Yeah, in Victoria, he like
I
walks
don't
around and
know.
delivers flowers.
I don't know. I
Anyways,
probably
so
should. Is that a hint, fiance?
right, sweet in my heart.
Yeah.
And anyways, this bar was packed. It was the opening. It was crazy. Everybody, like, it was very, very trendy, and like all the cool people were there, and I was just like not fitting in, but just was drinking a bottle of wine with my crew in the corner beside the bar, and he was just kept looking at me, and it was a fun night. And all of a sudden Albert cruises in with his flowers, and Jess is so busy. He's got like so many people in front of his bar. Albert cruises in, and Jess goes, wait, 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 everyone stop. And so the bar kind of goes like really silent except for the music. And it just stands on the bar. He was like, I need two. I need two. And he's standing on the bar, grabs two flowers from Albert, and then comes to me and goes, come here, come here. And I'm like, you fucker. And here I am in the spotlight.
That's a bold move.
It is. He was a bold person.
Yeah.
And he was like, come here, come here. And I'm like, are you serious? And then he made me stand on the bar with him. And he was like, I love you. I love you. And I'm like, I love you too. And he gave me those flowers, and then he continued the night.
First sight.
All right. I mean, he was a bold person with bold moves and bold ideas. And
did he like,
I think
was he a good bowler?
I don't know. We never bowled.
I say,
but I think
things.
that was his
that's
downfall.
all I do. That's my contribution to this podcast is I intercept with shitty one-liner jokes that aren't funny. Dad jokes.
I love dad jokes. But I think that was his downfall. To finish that, to like bookend that, like I think he was like is it okay to say that he was too big for this world? Like he was just too he had too much heart, like he had too many ideas, and he was too compassionate and passionate, and like it was a lot. Like it was so much for him to like he wasn't cut out for everyday life. Like he wasn't cut out to sell shoes, you know, like and
was he bipolar, or did he have
I mean, like, you know,
like high highs, low lows, or just like depression or something?
I mean, like I would say he definitely had some high highs and some low lows for sure.
That's a pretty crazy move too. Like that's something where you're like that's, you know, where that would be like such a bold statement that then maybe the next day is a crash, or a week later is kind of a crash, and maybe would he not be that, like bold, you know, like kind of he's like just so extroverted and then kind of introverted, or I'm just guessing here.
Totally. I mean, like he was very extrovert in the image, but I mean, if you got to know him very well, like he loved like five of us, and that's it. Like he really like he was friends with everybody, but he only loved like five of us. And so I mean, like I would say like undiagnosed, but he did have some high highs and some low lows for sure. But I think his brain was too much. Like he was too creative, and he was too passionate, and it was hard for him to like figure that, like, he just couldn't sell shoes. And I mean, I say that in a way where like the boring, simple life wasn't for him.
I get it. Yeah. I get it.
You know,
I totally get that.
Yeah.
And I get how you're like, I don't want to diss anyone who sells shoes, but
yeah. I'm not saying that. I mean, I would like, I love the simple life. I crave it.
Yeah.
Been a bit of a roller coaster the last 10 years. So, I mean, sign me up for selling fucking shoes.
Something low stress. You could be the Al Bundy, the female Al Bundy.
Oh man, what a show.
It's been so in a span of how many years? Because then you got cancer again. So you were like, remember that you were like, so you moved, you got through the first one,
So I got through the first one, and then like, let's say
Do you
that
want to talk about ayahuasca at all? Because I was
ayahuasca. Yeah,
ayahuasca.
yeah. I mean,
Did you do? You
yeah,
did one of those trips, sort of
I
between,
did.
right? How did that
So
go?
this, I'm gonna date it though, because this kind of like really explains a couple things. Like our engagement.
Yeah, 100%. That's where it started.
I was really high.
Yeah, obviously.
So I I've done chemo in 2000, like I guess this was 13, 14-ish. And I did the chemo and I just felt like toxic waste. Like I felt terrible, like physically, emotionally, mentally. I just felt terrible after that. I felt wrung out and just was kind of searching for many, many things to heal me. And I did a sweat lodge, and
I remember that. Yeah, that was
that was pretty intense. And then I did an ayahuasca
you were in a
ceremony.
tent, were you not?
Yeah, I was in a sweat
Yeah.
lodge. Yeah, that was fucking
Terrible.
hot in there.
Horrible joke.
I mean, yeah,
Horrible joke.
it was a horrible joke, but that's fine.
Carry on.
I'm moving on. So I was invited by some shamans, and I mean, we're gonna keep that a little bit on the discreet side.
Yeah, no worries.
So I was invited by some shamans and participated in this ceremony. And I mean, if anybody knows anything about ayahuasca, it's not for the faint of heart. Yeah. I think you and I have talked about it. And I've
got a full episode coming up on it, actually, where I interviewed Keith from he's playing Mad Cat. He plays for the Mariachi Bronx. He's the horn player.
Yeah. Oh, so
yeah. He just went down to Peru and went into like the Amazon and did it. And talks all about it. Yeah, it's gnarly. It's gnarly. Yeah.
I mean, it's not for the faint of heart.
No,
like, guys, seriously.
Yeah, it sounds intense. It
is intense. I think you and I have had a conversation about it, and you decided that it wasn't for you.
I don't think I want to go there. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty balanced. I don't know if I want to rattle the cage and stir up any demons or dust or whatever, because it's a look inside yourself.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you are in a point in your life where you need answers, and you are comfortable doing a 180, and you are comfortable and you're ready and open to fucking open up Pandora's box, go for it. I wouldn't say you're doing it on a Friday and then going to work on Monday. Like, it doesn't work like that.
And it lasts longer, right? Like, you have your trip and your image, and then it sounds, because as it was explained, then you just keep building, because it's still there, and you remember what you saw, and you have, or whatever you felt or you experienced, and then you have your plan that they kind of set you on to build on that, or to work through it, or
it's I mean, like,
it's like you're like
you don't even know if you're standing or sitting,
and that you're like a puzzle piece. You're like just a bunch of puzzle pieces. You're everything.
You're a bunch of puzzle pieces.
Good luck. Throw those into the wind. Yeah, threw it into the ocean, and you got to figure out how to put these fucking pieces back together.
It's pretty intense. I mean, like, but I was at a point in my life where I had just finished chemo. I was bald. I was gray. I was, like, just looking for something, and I needed it at that time, and I'm very glad that I did it, because it opened up so much for me. But I can firmly say that I will never do it again. I don't think that I need to. And so when I did it, it was, so I'm just gonna kind of go through you sit in a circle, and you get called upon, and you go to the center, and you take ayahuasca, and then you sit down, and it was very maternal. There was 3 shaman women, which was very comforting. And there was
everyone female there? Was it all female?
The shaman were. The guests were not. There was about 9 of us, like 8 or 9 of us. And you get called upon, you take your ayahuasca, and then you go back to your yoga mat. I think it was a yoga mat. I mean, like, that tells you so much. Like, you just don't know if you're sitting or standing or shitting on the toilet. Like, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. I mean, so then, and it's an evening ceremony. So it is around 9, 10 o'clock, and then you kind of go on your way, and like I said, you don't know if you're sitting or standing. Like you it's a very outer body experience. I've never done like acid or peyote or any of those like psychedelic kind of drugs, so I don't really know how to compare it. But I mean, I saw my entire life, and it was the most intense feeling, and the purging was unbelievable. Like I feel like I've got so much out.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was
And
very
because
refreshing in
you
that
said
sense.
and like with getting cancer, you were just keeping everything in and just
I
squeezing it into like a
was.
ball, right?
I
So
was.
that
And
got
I
it out.
like the noises that, and like a lot, they tell you to bring a bucket, so because you purge quite a bit. But it's not like,
By purge, I mean like you vomit.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not like vomit.
I seen it. I
Like,
watched a documentary. It almost looked like spit, or like when you drink like a
yeah, and it's
milkshake,
like
just like a big loogie.
animalistic noises that are
Oh,
coming
really?
out of you. Like
Oh,
I
wow.
felt like I was roaring like a lion. Like I was just like, it was fucking intense. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like vomit. Like it was just like, "Rawr," like you're
Yeah.
just like purging it out of you. And I mean,
Wow.
I would say that it was 50-50. Like I felt some of the
50-50 what?
best,
Oh,
I felt some of the best feelings of my life on ayahuasca, but I've also felt like the darkest feelings I've ever seen. And that's, it's yin and yang. It's a balance, right? So
yeah.
it was like, it was beautiful, but it was fucking terrifying,
Oh,
because I was like shown who I was. And that's a bit terrifying when
yeah.
you're just like seeing like all of the things that you are.
Well, you're almost meeting God in a sense,
Yeah, you
right?
kind of are. And I
Yeah.
mean, you go and whatever your beliefs are, but my beliefs after ayahuasca is I'm very spiritual, and you go into the spirit world and
Yeah.
you see another realm of the world. And to me, after Jess died, I was very, very much questioning spirituality and faith, and what the fuck happens to you when you die, kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
especially after getting cancer.
Yeah.
Um and it made me see that it's not the end of the road for you, like
Cool.
there's a lot after that. So that it kind of like reassured me that like that he's okay, and I'll be okay, and death isn't the end all or be all. You don't just
Yeah.
die.
Is it
um
like you'll meet again one day?
yeah, for sure. And like it's all like we're all connected in different ways, like spiritually or like physically. And this brings us to me and
Better
you.
You better hope that heaven doesn't have an elevator, because if I show up, that might really fuck things up, you know? He's a Jess, like, who's this fucking clown?
You guys will
Maybe
be
well,
homies.
yeah, we're bros.
You guys will be homies for sure. And I mean, like that brings us to you. And of course, I saw Jess many, many times, and we had some candid conversations while I was on
Yeah.
ayahuasca,
Did you?
and it
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
It was great. And
Did he give you some
but like,
answers and stuff, or just like said, just be okay,
yeah, I mean,
just
we had
live your life?
sex.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very weird. Had sex with a ghost on ayahuasca. Very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know how to explain that, but
I have questions, but I almost think it's probably too personal.
I mean, use your imagination. Like,
Yeah. Right.
but it brings us to you, where
Yeah.
like, I feel like we hadn't even seen each other since that first night that we met.
I don't think so. That's so
No,
trippy.
because we were still
Yeah.
like
We met
just
for like 5 minutes at a reggae concert in a beer
we did.
garden, and then
We did.
and then we ended up being like best friends, like over
Best
the phone
friends.
for
Yeah,
a year and a half.
I know.
Through the
And
gnarliest
then
shit.
yeah, I know. And then
Yeah.
like so we hadn't even like really like hung out or anything. And then
Yeah.
while I was very high
Yeah.
on laying or standing, I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw my wedding day, and I
Yeah.
remember it was such a good day. And that's why I say it was 50-50 with ayahuasca, because you are shown who you are, but you are like experiencing all these like awesome things. And
Yeah.
I saw my wedding day, and I was like, I remember like being at like the head of the aisle. I guess that's, I don't know what you call that, but like the start of the aisle, and you were just sitting over there, obviously, because you can't stand.
Because it was on the beach and I was stuck. The tide was coming in, so we're like, all right, fucking rush this thing. We're not gonna do our vows.
And then I remember like being so excited and like peeking down the aisle and seeing you, and I was waving, and you're like, hey. I was so excited to get married to you. And I just like, and I'm a big like feeler, and like I love vibes, and I just felt so good. And it was the best. So then the next day I asked you to marry me.
Yeah, you're like, so I was so fucking high. And then I was like, yeah, I want to marry him. I was like, yeah, all right, story checks out. First person asked me to marry them was fucked up on the most high drug you can possibly get.
Ever. Yeah. The highest I've ever been in my entire life.
I'll take it. And
you know, what other options?
I was like, sweet, yeah. I was like, do we have to do it now? And you're like, no, like, let's have some fun. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll just fucking figure out life.
Totally. For sure.
Yeah. Then you like, so then you kind of back to normal. I remember you moved, life got back to some normalcy, and you moved up to Revelstoke, which is a beautiful place. And
shout out to Revelstoke.
Yeah, Revelstoke rules. You're doing really well. And then I remember me and my dad actually I was going through like the Kootenays. He came up to Cranbrook because he has really one of his best friends is there. Shout out to Bob Craig. Played for Don Cherry back in the day. Just an enforcer, shit kicker. So yeah, my dad came up and we were cruising around, and we went through Cranbrook, and then whatever. I'm thinking like Kimberley, wherever the hot springs are, and then we came down through Revelstoke and visited you, and had lunch on this beautiful patio and had this cool hangout. And yeah, I remember my dad was like, holy fuck, I love her. She's like, my dad just fell in love with you.
I know, your dad can't fucking wait for us to get married.
100%. He's so
he's ready. I mean, like, we're not, but he is.
And then you're just like, well, life's getting a little boring here in Revelstoke, so did you pray? Did you pray for cancer again, or did it
you know, I mean, this time I didn't. Like, you know, I just like, fuck. Yeah. Like, I was having a really good time.
I remember because you were like, on that trip when we parted ways, you were like, all right, I'm having my 5-year without taking medication anniversary, or whatever you want to call it, party. I'm going to be in Victoria. Come over. It's going to be awesome. I'm off. And you were going to be off meds, I think, or you were off meds, or you're probably going to totally be off them or something.
I was going to totally be off of them. They pulled the trigger in August of 2018. And then they were just like, you know what, you're done. You've been on these for 5 years. Let's do it. Like, you're good. Yeah. And I went to my oncologist for the last fucking time, and I was so stoked. Had a huge party. It was amazing. Yeah. You were getting a tattoo of a burning church, so you didn't show up. I forgive you. I forgive you. It's fine. You can come to my next one.
There's no Jesus here, actually, I guess.
I mean, you can come to my next one.
Well, maybe I just knew. I took ayahuasca and you're like, this ain't the last one.
I mean, I'll catch the next one.
Yeah. Fuck. I jammed on you for a tattoo. What a piece of shit.
I know. It's fine. It's fine. You're good. You're good. And then, so I mean, like, you know, maybe this should be like a public service announcement. Like, don't go off your cancer drugs.
Well, fuck.
Because shit came back, like, I think 4 months later.
But was it your, did you find out on your last appointment, or you just, like, you went to your last appointment and that was it, or you went for your last appointment and they're like, oh shit, there's something turned out?
No, I went to my last appointment and that was it. And I was like, you're good. Like, you're good. Go live your life. And I was having such a good time in Revy. Like, I mean, I was snowboarding, I was fly fishing. I met some of my bestest friends I've ever met. Like, I mean, I just love that community so much. I can't speak highly about it.
You had a cat. You had a cat, didn't you? That like went to the woods with you,
right?
And you just made multiple hard bite potato chip.
I'm still on that.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw that today. You're still.
Yeah. going strong.
Gotta come visit me. We'll have our honeymoon there. It's like about a 5-minute drive from where I live.
Yeah, so it was just it was great. I was having a really good life. And then I remember I was at a potluck dinner, and there was about 15 of us, obviously COVID. And I ate something, or something happened, and I broke out in some gnarly fucking hives, and they didn't go away. And for about a month, I just had hives. And my family doctor in Revelstoke, I'm just going to give her a shout out. Kate McCarroll, you're amazing. I love you.
Kate, what's your last name?
Kate McCarroll. Yeah.
McCarroll.
Just a little shout out
What's
to
up,
her.
Kate McCarroll?
She didn't give up. I mean, she didn't give up, right? She went for it. She did all the testing, and then they found that I had something developing in my side boob again.
Same spot?
And same spot. They did a biopsy, and they're like, you know what? She's got cancer again. Wow. So I was plucked out of Revy and just put back in Victoria to do all the treatments.
Because Revelstoke's pretty small. That's
pretty tiny.
Yeah.
They don't have all the treatment things there. Yeah. So I came back to Vic, and I have to mention this because I think it's really important for people that don't know. Cancer can spread very, very fast. And when they had found it, let's say it was tiny. It was so small. It was maybe half a centimeter. And then 4 weeks later, it had spread to 4 different spots into my lungs, in my chest cavity.
It was in your fucking lungs?
Yeah, it was in my chest cavity, not lungs, but my chest cavity. Yeah. Okay.
Because if it's in your lungs, they can't get it. You can't get it out of your lungs.
No. There was no surgery for that. It was all radiation.
Yeah.
And you just need to advocate health, because it had spread so fast that people were just mind blown of how active my body was. And it was on its way. So had I not
living a really healthy lifestyle after, not that you weren't before, but you were diet and just you were, quit smoking for the most part. Other than here and there, you'd have your dart because you love smoking, but you're
just freaking love cigarettes.
You gave up on red meat, I believe. You gave up on a lot of the stuff that you really loved. Yeah. You sacrificed that for your health, thinking moving forward, I don't want to get this shit again. And then you fucking. So, but anyway, point being of that is that, your body was probably thankfully in a pretty healthy place.
It was. And I was in a really good place in my life too.
Mentally and stuff.
And I think that's probably the most important. I've read a lot of books on remission, and your state of mind is probably one of the most important things that you could do for your physical health. And I was in such a good place in my life with being in Revelstoke and such a strong community and being outside a lot, and nature is my life. And so I was just thriving, and and just got rerouted, I guess.
Yeah.
Am I mad about it? No, because a lot of good things came from Cancer 2.0. A lot of good things came from Cancer 2.0. I lived in Revy for about 3 years, and I call it a vacation, because I needed a vacation, and I took 3 years out of my life to live in Revelstoke and have a good time and ski and fish and hang out with my friends. But then after Cancer 2.0, I came back to Victoria, and I decided to go back to university. And I am 2 classes away from completing a degree in psychology, which is one of the big, I know, it's one of the biggest accomplishments in my life. So,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you say two what? Two
classes.
Fuck, you're there.
I know.
What, are you taking them over the summer, or when are you taking them?
No, I'm on a bit of a hiatus for this. I did academia for 2 years straight, so I'm on a little bit of a break, but it's in September. Yeah, so I'll be graduating next year. And so I guess the moral of the story would be when shit happens, and I guess you can attest to this as well, when shit fucking really hits the fan, you can open some doors with that, you know, like
sure.
you can definitely like turn that like it's hard to see it in the beginning for sure. Like, I mean, you're not gonna like look at the bright side right away, but like you can really take it for like an opportunity to like be better and do the things, you know. Like I found myself having to be in Victoria, so I was like, okay, well, what do I need to do? What do I want to do? And I was like, well, my mental health is like super important to me, and I'd like to learn about it, you know. And so that's what I did.
And you're in pretty close proximity to two very good universities there too, right?
I am. Yeah.
Which school are you going to again?
I'm going to UVic.
UVic,
Yeah.
What's the other one that's here? What's the other?
There's Royal Roads.
Royal Roads, yeah. UVic, lots of bunnies.
Oh no, they're dead.
Oh, the bunnies are dead?
They culled them. Apparently they went to a farm in Texas.
It wasn't cancer.
They went to a farm.
Oh, really? They just wiped them the fuck out?
It's just, I mean, I went there one day, they were there. The other day, they were all gone.
Holy shit.
It's a very sensitive subject amongst the students.
Yeah, I bet. Like, yeah.
I mean, they didn't go to the farm, guys.
Yeah, they went to the death farm. Okay, well that took a weird turn.
Sure did. Sorry. Yeah,
Sorry,
you had to mention the bunnies.
I did. Fuck. We were going so well. No. But yeah, so then that's so cool. So you're 2 courses away. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, you went through some gnarly shit. Obviously, you've been tested mentally as much as anybody and physically as much as anybody ever could. But even when you're tested physically, of course, you've got to be strong mentally to probably doing anything to cope and get through it. And then now you're going to take what you learned and fucking help others, which
and
I know in my experience is the best thing you can do, because it's just so rewarding every day, and it
is right. And I think that nowadays, especially with COVID, people need some fucking help.
Mental
like people need some help.
Yeah.
It's like, it's insane to think that we can all do this by ourselves, because we can't. We are social creatures, and we need each other, and now more than ever. And I think that, and I can attest to this with multiple friends that like need some help and can't get it because they can't, it's not provided for them. The social work isn't there, or they can't afford it. And I think that's really, really sad in this day and age in 2021. I think that anyone who needs mental health care should have access to it.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, is to provide mental health and help people. And it doesn't need to cost $275 an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's stupid.
Well, yeah. And if somebody's probably struggling big time with their mental health, they probably are having a hard time holding a fucking regular job where they
can't afford that.
Yeah.
And they can't afford to wait 5 months on a waiting list for free help, for free counseling, or I have such a passion about it that I think that it and now more than ever, like, I mean, you work with teenagers.
Yeah.
They are like, there's a massive lineup for, like, they're just going in, like they need the help. Like, kids these days need the help.
Well, and I think the thing about kids, and what I talk a lot about, and that's what I'm loving these question and answers, because it's allowing to kind of get outside of, it's a lot of traffic safety stuff, being who the sponsor is. But I do talk on the mental health. But when you're doing a Q&A, hey, whatever they ask, then you answer, right? So it can kind of go off on different branches. But a lot of it is youth trying to deal with this. I think everybody is, but when you're young and you haven't experienced anything before, nobody's experienced a pandemic, but if you just haven't experienced really fucking horrible, shitty stuff, the first time you do, you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know that you can deal with it. You don't know you will get through it because you haven't been through something traumatic like that before. And that's kind of interesting about life. The longer we live and the more tragedies and hard times we go through, the more resilient we become. You being an example, I'd say I'm an example. I'd say a lot of people probably listen to this example. The older we get, we go through some gnarly shit, and the more stuff you go through, the more gnarly shit, the more you're like, well, you can kind of go, well, I made it through that. So, and you're, of course, learning coping skills and management of of all that stuff to like get through. And I think, yeah, they hit young people really fucking hard right now because it hitting everybody hard, but it's particularly them. And I feel so bad where I'm talking to these, you know, like when you're a fucking teenager, like you haven't the shit, I don't know, like life's pretty simple for the most part. For most, you know, some not. They come from troubled, challenged families and situations, of course. But just say like the average teenager, like fucking grad, like they're just stoked for their graduation. They've worked, you know, their whole youth, their young life from being 5 years old, going to school, looking forward to this big moment, and it's taken away from them. You know, like they don't.
Yeah.
Like, you get to fucking go through Zoom and get your diploma, and there's no
Oh my God, that's
party or camping. It's sad, right? And it's really, it's hitting them hard for sure.
For sure. There's no like closure. There's no celebration. It's just like you're going through these motions of like yet again being online. Like I feel like
they're already online too much.
Everyone's online too much. Like my whole life is online, like school, work, like this.
We're online
like
right now.
Everything is online. Like and so when you get those moments, like those breaks with human connection and those parties and those conversations and like the touch, the hugs, the you know, the look in the eye, like congratulations, you did it, I love you, like all these things, it means so much. And they're just like growing up without that, which is
it's sad.
It's so sad.
Robbed of a big part of I mean, you know, in your life, like what are the big things, you know, like you've got you got marriage, you've got graduation, you've got, you know, maybe your milestone birthdays, 19 or 21 if you're in the US, and you know, whatever, but that's one of the big ones, right? So it is. There's a lot. I mean, but truly, I mean, you're such a fucking shining light. You're glowing right now. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Your attitude rules.
Thanks.
And I think I mean, I guarantee there's people, I don't think there'll be one person listening to this who can't relate to dealing with cancer in one way or another, or dealing with depression or suicide or loss. So I'm stoked that we could chat and you could be
thanks for having me on. It was great.
So candid and open and really just putting yourself out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not saying we're ending this right now because there's still some more battery life on my computer.
Hey, can I pause you for a sec?
100%.
Okay, I'm going to pause you.
I can edit shit out too. Yo. What do you
Hi.
Oh yeah. Hey. What are you drinking anyways?
A white wine spritzer.
Delicious. You said that like somebody who would be a white wine spritzer.
I mean,
you said that like
you
somebody
know,
who drinks
like
white wine spritzers.
It was the AM when you wanted to do this, so I was like, I mean, I could have some. That was my choice of drink.
That's
that
good.
Was my choice of drink.
What's your plan for the rest of the day?
Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna do a bit of work And then I am just probably going to go to the beach because it's a beautiful sunny day.
It's gorgeous.
And it's so nice. It's so nice.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. What about
sweet.
you?
I think I'm gonna go ride my bike because it's beautiful. My neighbors are having a little they're doing like a Cuban kind of barbecue thing outside. They always like have like little things for like this. There's a bunch of cool neighbors just up the road. So yeah, I'm gonna go up there and probably not eat anything because from my experience traveling to Miami, there's not a lot of vegan options.
Vegan Cuban. No,
I basically might have some beans or a fucking plantain.
I mean, yeah, like a plantain.
Yeah.
That was my only suggestion for you.
Beans
like
or a
some
plantain.
Rice.
Yeah, beans,
some
plantain,
rice,
or rice.
Yeah.
But but I'll go hang with them probably, and then I might bounce downtown and actually go on a podcast today. So we'll see. But I'm gonna be outside for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's fucking wrap this thing up so we can go enjoy the sunshine and do our thing. I fucking love you. Thanks for coming on. And,
thank you for having me.
You look awesome.
Thanks. So do you.
Yeah.
I mean, the mullet was really working for me, but
I still got it.
Do you? I mean, it's not.
It's still there. It's not quite as gnarly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's still fucking there. It's still a mullet, 100%.
Right.
The ear thing's just kind of hiding.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it.
It's still there.
Okay.
It's definitely still a mullet. I'm still a little bit of a piece of shit.
Good. Don't overchange.
I can't fully get rid of it. It was
no.
But it
nor
was
should you.
It was well past my shoulders, and it was starting to be really fucking.
It was so good last summer.
It was hideous. Okay, well maybe I'll grow it back. So just for you, for our wedding. I'll look
Your
like
mom is not going to be happy.
No, she hated it. A lot of people did. I will look like what my dad Jim looked like on his wedding day, which was fucking epic blonde mullet.
Amazing. Can't wait.
For our wedding. For him and for you.
We're, just for the people listening. I mean, we'll get back to you guys on our wedding day.
Yeah, we'll do it over.
We'll
stream
keep you guys posted.
We'll stream it live for the listeners.
It's gonna be a fucking party. I mean,
if
you want to come?
Well, Mad Caddies are obviously gonna play it. So
obviously,
yeah, no, like 100% they are. So we'll have to figure that. Well, that won't even be hard to figure out. It's gonna be a party somewhere with Mad Caddies.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody wants to come, you just let us know.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
You don't have to be paralyzed or a cancer survivor to get a ticket.
And don't worry, it's not contagious.
It's not. None of these things are contagious. Only thing that's contagious are positive attitudes and outlook on life.
Ugh, that's great.
Okay, cool.
That is true. No assholes.
No, well, yeah, I don't know. We're kind of assholes.
Yeah, we are.
Only good assholes.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.